Good afternoon and welcome to my channel. Okay, stop right here if you have not seen episodes 1 through 8 yet. Okay, because this is sort of a series-like thing, even though each individual episode kind of is a standalone, but it's always good for you to watch the ones before that. Okay, with that said, thanks for visiting my channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on and share with your friends because, see, you don't find too many YouTube channels that just have straight entertainment without talking about people, without talking about celebrities, dirt, and all that. I just thought I'd give y'all a little bit of entertainment, like that good old-fashioned kind that'll keep you in suspense and just make you enjoy instead of making you mad. Anyway, so this is episode 9 of The Planet, and this is about an invasion. The girls on the planet have come under the radar of the United States military. What is Ruby and her girls going to do about this? Well, y'all about to find out right now, and let's watch this together. Ready? All right, here we go. Introduction to The Planet. The Planet, a place for women, where women share ideas, where women contribute to a feminine society and community, educate one another, relate to one another. On June 1st, 1961, 34-year-old Ruby Severs was walking home from work one evening after finishing her shift at her job when she was encountered by a strange man. Ruby's husband did not come to pick her up because he was passed out intoxicated on the sofa at home, so she braved the 6 blocks to her house alone. She realized the man following her meant harm, so she began running. The street was quiet, and there was no one around to help her. She rounded the corner and found a door that led to an old warehouse and hurried inside, securing the door behind her. She was frightened and confused. She could only whisper the right words. "Help me. Please help me, somebody." After those words, she closed her eyes. When she opened them, she was in a strange place, another world she had never seen before. She saw a beautiful beach with clean water and white sand. The waves of the sea crashed, having a calming effect on her soul. The skies were blue, the bluest she had ever seen. There was no one else in sight as she looked around and discovered there were many resources which she later used to build up the place, to make it more inhabitable, to make it a home. Oh, she was excited. Ruby returned to Earth shortly afterward and told her husband about the beautiful place she had been. But he did not believe her. Instead, he had her committed to an asylum. But she escaped, and she made her way back to the warehouse with hospital staff chasing her. She uttered those words, "Somebody help me." Yes, somebody help me. Instantly, she was transferred back to the planet she discovered. Later, Ruby returned to Earth and told her 27-year-old friend Jackie about the planet, and they returned together and began building a home they now call the Planet. Welcome to the Planet, where women rule, where girls learn, where there are no men. Episode 9, Scene 1. It's getting closer, Jackie! The defender shouted as she observed the enemy starship getting closer. Should we fire? Hold your fire, ladies! Hold your fire! The Euphemia stood between Planette and their enemies. As soon as they detected something headed towards them, they boarded the Euphemia and lifted from their world in defense of their solar system. How did they get all the way out here? Dawn, another defender, asked. She was operating the starship. There were at least 18 on board. Some were working the navigation system, some were manning the defense board, and others co-piloting. I don't know, Dawn. Just hold down. Hold the fort, Jackie said, but she knew that planet Earth had come a long way when it came to technology. They made it to the moon after all. Once the other starship came close enough, they made communication connection with the Euphemia. Jackie answered the communication. Who are you?
We are the United States military.
What do you want? Jackie asked. General Warrington's image appeared on the monitor.
What planet are you from?
Why is that important?
It is important. Apparently, we need to know who you are.
Listen, sir.
That's General.
Well, General, we live in peace. And we are not offending anyone, but if we have to defend our own, we will.
Are you threatening us?
General, you have reached our solar system. You are the one who is a long way from home. Your system has 9 planets, and 9 only. Ours is not one of them. I'm nicely asking you to turn around.
We hear you have resources we could use, and we are not leaving until we reach negotiation.
And how would we benefit from this negotiation, General? Jackie! One of the defenders tried to get her attention. I got this, Twee. Don't worry about it.
It will greatly benefit you. We will defend you against any other enemy who deems to launch an assault against you.
General, you do realize we are fully capable of taking care of ourselves, and we have been for 60 years.
You are delusional.
She knew she had bruised his ego. For her to tell this man they did not need his protection was a blow to his pride, especially his American pride. I don't believe we are delusional.
You're not getting rid of us. We will remain in position until you come to a negotiation.
The Euphemia continued circling, remaining between the enemy and the planet. They had plenty of food and power to keep going for a light year. She did not know how long the United States starship could continue, but she knew she would never blink first. One of the ladies handed Jackie a cup of tea. Oh, thanks, Niecy. You're welcome. Just let me know when you're ready for me to relieve you. I'll be in the parlor. You go ahead and rest, Niecy. Episode 9, Scene 2. Ruby observed from the observation control room. There were 30 monitors around the room, all of them 80 inches by 95 inches. Some of the monitors displayed the enemy starship at different angles, with the measurements of distance between them and the Euphemia. 4 other monitors were used to surveillance the planet. All eyes were on the enemy. Other defenders at the home base were on standby for backup of the Euphemia. Ruby, we should just go ahead on and take these fools out remotely. But can you believe this? Fatima said as she joined Ruby, who sat at her console. A computer monitor and Ruby's phone were on the desk. Dr. Fatima rested her phone next to Ruby's. We should have known they would come for us eventually. We've been living large for over 57 years, and the United States at that. Well, I always thought it would be Russia invading us. No, If I had to guess, I would have betted on the United States. Ruby, do you think this has something to do with Jillian drawing all this attention to us? It's no wonder we take them to a planet within our solar system whenever they betray us. And everyone thinks I'm mean. But yes, this has much to do with Jillian. How has her daughter been acting? She's been very supportive. She thinks what her mother did was deplorable. Fatima continued watching the monitor that displayed the United States starship. How long do we have to deal with this standoff, Ruby? We have an eternity. They'll give up before we do. General Warrington is already looking older than me, and I'm 30 years his senior. Oh, Ruby, you are a mess, lady. Oh, they haven't seen some mess yet. They haven't seen what a mess we can be. More defenders entered and relieved those sitting behind control consoles. Defenders were always dressed in beige jumpsuits or beige pants and button-down top with combat boots whenever they were on duty. Each one wore a name tag and a weapon that was made to disable a person on her holster. I'm going up to take a rest, Ruby said, rising from her seat and grabbing her phone. And remember, I am never so asleep that we cannot wake you up. I know. Ruby gently touched the doctor on her shoulder and said, "See you in a while, Doc." She headed upstairs to her personal lounge, where she slept or stayed whenever they were on a mission to defend the planet. There had been at least a dozen times they've had to defend. Her mind took her back to the time when they were attacked by another planet in their solar system, and they were almost defenseless. Since then, they had never been caught sleeping. There were vicious creatures out in the universe. She removed her jacket and stretched out on a comfortable chaise lounge chair. She stared at the skylights above. It was a starry night. Although they had a pretty tight defense team, she always worried about her ladies. She finally closed her eyes. Episode 9, Scene 3. The Euphemia continued guarding the planet. Things were quiet for a while, and the defenders kept the United States starship under surveillance. The environment was dark, and other than enemy starship, nothing could be seen except stars. Are there any changes? Jackie asked as she took a seat next to one of the pilots.
No changes, ma'am. We are still not sure what they want.
They won't tell us. Same old United States as when I left in 1961.
And I wonder how much of this rogue behavior of theirs would make the news and let the American people see just how vicious they are to try to attack a planet outside their own solar system.
And if they come off the victor, everyone will hear how they launched an attack against a planet full of criminals and make everyone think they can do anything. Humans always play God, and you know they'll change the narrative. They won't make it look like it was a bunch of women they attacked.
You mean men, Jackie, men, and the women that love them.
Well, you're right about that, Dawn. Jackie took a sip from her drink. Suddenly, their ship rocked, causing the lights to go out momentarily.
Everyone buckle up! Buckle up! We're going in! This is war!
The defender ordered. It did not take long for Jackie to realize they had been hit. The Euphemia sped off, dipping and going into attack mode. One of the defenders launched a missile, but it merely hit the edge of the enemy's wing, not making a real impact.
Get in position, Nisi! Get in position! I need to launch again! Get in position!
One of the defenders said. The U.S. Starship pursued the Euphemia, but they were too fast. The pilot got into a position to defend and another missile was launched. It hit the U.S. Starship, but the women did not stay in the same position. Their ship sped off again.
At 1340, getting in position to fire.
They fired again, this time missing their opposition. The pilot uttered an expletive, frustrated that the U.S. ship had moved out of their path. The co-pilot accelerated the speed while the pilot concentrated on the control board as she ran a diagnosis of the condition of the engines. The Euphemia rocked as a second offense from the enemy landed on them. Their ship spun out of control, but the pilot was able to stabilize. The women loaded their launcher with more of the salt rock, and then the lights went out. We lost power. Cheryl, get to it.
It's okay. We're still afloat.
The pilot said. For how long are we still afloat, though?
Don't be concerned with that. Continue launching. We gotta take that mothership out.
Jackie, we've lost the third engine.
We have 7 engines. Keep firing.
Oh, they're more evasive than we expected.
We have to get in, girls. We have to get in gear. Baby, run a diagnosis on the other engines. Make sure we're straight.
Yes, ma'am. I'm right on it. Things were quiet and dark, but they knew their enemy had not given up. The only way they would make it home would be to disable them for good. Episode 9, Scene 4. Ruby had just joined the control room at the home base just before the U.S. launched the first offense. She sat at her console. Ruby, we have a decision to make. I know we don't kill, but this is ridiculous. They're trying to kill us. Ruby listened to one of her fellow commanders. Then she thought about it. Ruby, you have to give the command now. Very well. Use the salt rock. Salt rock was the mineral they found in the southern region that heated up once it was launched. Then suddenly, one of the defenders sitting at a console that launched weapons said, "Ladies, they're getting closer to us. They must have been able to get around the Euphemia. They're headed here." Ruby stood, observing the enemy ship on one of the monitors. "See if we can make contact with one of these clowns." Ruby, are you serious? They've already made it clear to the Euphemia that they want our resources. If they're already here, see if you can make contact. Ruby held up her hand. "Officer Strauss, make communication to the enemy ship." Officer Strauss dialed in and Commander Warrington's image appeared on 2 of the 4 monitors.
Greetings, Mrs. Severs. Seems your husband and my grandfather were brothers.
The man said, addressing Ruby. What do you want?
We want you to give up your fountain of youth. We could acquire great wealth in the world if we found the antidote for perfect health.
How did you know who I was?
Are you kidding, Auntie? I've seen photos of you from long, long ago. I recognized you immediately. Now, we all know where you escaped to. You were not crazy after all. You actually did find a new planet. And just think, all this time, Uncle should have listened to you.
We are not giving you resources to feed your own greed on Earth. Haven't you men done enough damage to the poor and vulnerable?
All right, let's quit dawdling. We've come and we've asked nicely.
You call trying to invade us nicely?
Why, look at you, looking as young as you did decades ago. You are the one who is greedy.
I have never stolen from anyone.
Put it this way, Aunt Ruby. We are only 84 hours from your planet in Earth time. But for your time, that's 62 hours. You do the math. I'm sure you have devices that have all time zones. You all have done well for yourselves, but it's up to you.
After that, the ship sped off, leaving their view. Get the third radar up. We need a better view of where they are. Fingers began flying across keyboards as the women worked fervently to get a vision on where they'd gone. Ruby gave the order to the Euphemia to use the salt rock against the United States. It was time for them to quit being nice. Episode 9, Scene 5. It took hours, but they were able to restore the power on the Euphemia. The only trouble was that losing the third engine had slowed them down. They were not able to chase down the United States ship. You girls are awesome, Regina and Cheryl, Jackie told the young women who had restored the power. Thanks, Jackie. I'll do all I can to get engine 3 up and running, okay? Then the pilot announced,
Ladies, we have company. They're back.
Good! That means they haven't attacked our planet yet. Do you have a clear path, Officer Dean?
Path as clear as water, ma'am.
The Defender released salt rock missiles. A ball of yellow fire was so bright that the women had to cover their eyes as they could see it from the window in front of their spacecraft. The enemy had launched one at the same time, but their ship rocked and began spinning out of control. The pilot held the steering control steady, doing her best to keep from spinning totally out of control herself. Hey ladies, we've lost engine 6 now, someone yelled as the lights inside began flickering and the alarm began beeping. Whenever 2 engines were out, that left them with 5 engines and an alarm would go off. Use the emergency stabilizer! Officer Dean, use the stabilizer now! Jackie ordered. The ship continued spiraling, tossing the women all over the place. Some of them were not in seatbelts.
I'm trying to use a stabilizer, Jackie, but we're going down too fast.
Jackie strapped into the third seat and began working the control board while the pilots all did what they could to keep from spiraling into the next solar system. If they did, they would end up in enemy territory. One of the communicators was making contact with the home base, giving Ruby an update on what was going on. Then Jackie heard Ruby say, "We are armed and we are launching from the home base. We have a visual of the enemy and we're not backing down. We will back you up, girls. Work on stabilizing the ship. I need you girls home." That was comforting. They'd been in many star battles, but the relentless people on Earth were known for evil. Look at how they had treated their own planet. The ship finally stabilized, but things had slowed down. Ruby ordered them to turn around and head back to the Planette. Jackie could tell the ship was not sailing as smoothly as normal as it did, and she and her fellow engineers will work fervently to get the Euphemia back to normal as soon as they returned home. Episode 9, Scene 6. Once they launched from the home base, they felt the planet quake. Women and girls who were home sleeping felt the quake and saw bright lightning. Liz, Jillian's daughter, lived alone and she was frightened. She got up and went to the window, watching what looked like fireworks. She knew the Planette was under attack. She called her friend, who was also awake due to the quake. "Kendra, did you see that? Did you hear that?" "Yeah, it looked like the 4th of July out there." Kendra was 17, 3 years older than Liz. She had been on the Planette for 3 years, right around the time Liz and her mother and brother arrived. "Are you scared?" "Yeah, you?" "I'm very frightened." "Me and my sister can come over if you want." "Would you?" "Yeah, we on our way. We coming." Liz hung up and went into the kitchen. The sky kept lighting up. This was the first time she had ever experienced their planet at war. She poured herself a glass of water from the fountain. She decided to call her mother from her universal phone. "Hello, dear. I thought I would never hear from you." "Mom, why did you do what you did? Now our planet is at war with Earth because of that interview you gave." "Liz, that had nothing to do with me. They kidnapped my child and thought I wouldn't cry out for help." "You know what, Mom? You never take accountability for your own actions. And if you're not happy, you don't want anyone else to be happy." "Liz, all I tried to do was protect you and your brother." "My brother?" "What?" "Asher, my brother. You only wanted to protect him without any regard for the danger you put him and the rest of us in." "Honey, Mom, I gotta go." She hung up and headed for the door. Kendra and her sister hugged Liz. "Hey, girl, we here now. We here." Episode 9, Scene 7. Things were quiet at home base. Dr. Fatima set a cup of tea next to Ruby. They had been at the observation base all night. It was now morning, and they wondered if they actually connected with the U.S. ship. Ruby figured that they had to, otherwise they would be showing up at their door. Fatima told Ruby, "I think you need to be getting some rest." "Not until I know everyone is okay." "I know, but you are exhausted." "Don't worry about me. I'm just gonna..." "I am your doctor, and I'm ordering you to get some rest." Ruby, look!" one of the officers exclaimed. When Ruby looked up, she spied one of the monitors. A male was lying on the ground wounded near the airfield. Next to him was part of a wing from the U.S. ship. It was still burning. The man tried to move, but he was wounded. He wore a uniform, and they could see the tattered remains of the American flag on one of his sleeves. Well, I'll be darned. Ladies, let's go. 5 out of 7 of the commanders jumped into large vehicles that took them to the airfield. When they arrived, the man was still there. He was in a sitting position. Ruby and those officers stepped from the vehicle and headed towards him.
Please, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
Ruby and the others walked towards him. One of his arms was in bad shape, and his uniform was dirty and bloody. His face was also bloody. Why, this is amazing. How did you get here?
I don't know. All of a sudden, there was nothing. When I woke up, I was here. Please don't hurt me.
What should we do with him, girls? Ruby asked as she looked around at them.
No. Maybe torture him a little bit.
That's not our style, Khadija.
I know. I got it.
Another officer snapped her fingers.
Make him give us all the secrets and plans to what the United States military was planning to do with us.
And what if I don't give it to you? The man said, suddenly becoming bold. Gone was the humble facade.
Then you will die. What use are you to us then?
Get him up, ladies. Take him to the rubber house. And if he gets cute, handle business. The women grabbed him, yanking him from the ground. Despite his wounded condition, they handcuffed him and took him to the rubber house. Ruby sat in front of him, her officers surrounding her. He was impressed by what they had done out there on the Planette and wondered how they did it without men. Ruby explained to him that women stuck together and competition between them only happened on Earth because men instigated division between women. And then what happened? Ruby asked him after the man had given her all the information the military had planned to do. One of the women fed him soup while he talked.
They're planning to destroy planet Earth, and all the wealthy people who can afford it were aiming to invade and take over your planet.
As you can see, it wasn't that easy. Ruby laughed, knowing that men will grow old and wither away quickly. Mr. Kemp, you have one choice, and that is to leave.
And go where? All of my friends are dead. I'm the only survivor. If I return to Earth, I'll go back in shame.
Ruby rose from her seat and said, that does not sound like our problem. You cannot live here. I'm saving your life by having you shuttled back to Earth. He looked disappointed.
After all the information I gave you, how could you... How do I know you're not going to invade us now?
Because that's not what we do here. Ladies, gear up. It's time to take Mr. Kemp home. Ruby returned to the observation base, where Jackie and several others were. Ruby hugged her as soon as she saw her. She refused to let go. You just don't know how thankful I am that you girls are back.
I know, Ruby. We thought we wouldn't make it back. We lost 2 engines, and another was on the brink. We limped our butts back, though.
Ruby wiped her tears. She hugged the other defenders, officers, and pilots who spent 109 hours defending their world.
Ruby, come here.
Dr. Fatima called out. Ruby and Jackie followed the doctor to the parlor where they had satellite to Earth's television station. The president was announcing the disappearance of a military group, including General Warrington, who was lost in space, and how they were unable to locate their starship as it had disappeared from their radar at around 1400 hours 2 days ago. The president began taking questions.
Mr. President, where exactly were they going? You stated they were not going to the moon, so where were they going?
That's classified information. Other reporters tried to ask questions, but the president cut them off, telling them that they will be provided with more details as it comes in. Ruby shook her head, remembering the parents of the president, who was a big real estate tycoon in New York back in the day. She remembered when that president was just a boy, and now he was over 70 years old. Did y'all see that? Comment below. Tell me what you think. That was a battle, wasn't it? Phones ringing. But anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on those notifications. And we are going to see y'all at episode 10. By the way, them girls can fight, can't they? All right. Bye.